They did it. Sentinels have won the VCT Americas Kickoff Tournament. It was a crazy run for Sentinels in the Kickoff Tournament. They went through an absolute gauntlet to get where they are, but we're here to not only talk about that victory, but also the playoff stage as a whole. So on the board here, you can see the 3 matches that took place in the playoff bracket for the VCT Americas Kickoff. One crazy thing to note is that literally every single one of these matches went to the very last map. Every single one of these games having at least points in them that were extremely competitive. Starting with Evil Geniuses versus Loud, it was a 2-1 victory for Loud, and honestly, Evil Geniuses, they did play really well. They did get a map off of them, but unlike the feeling that I had when Fnatic lost that first map to Carmine Corp, where I felt like, oh wow, Fnatic might actually lose this, and they did. Whereas with this match, when Loud lost that first map, I was like, they're probably going to be okay. Loud tends to lose maps and then is very good at coming back in the second and third map. That was evident in their match against Sentinels today, just with the third and fourth map instead of the second and third. But yeah, Evil Geniuses, I don't really know what to make of this team yet. They did beat G2, but I think people may have overrated them right after that match. Not because I think they're bad or whatever. They did have a very good performance, and they did perform well against Loud, who is one of the best teams in Americas. But it is still a very small sample size for EG. I really don't know how the roster is going to end up doing. I do think they're going to be dangerous in the regular season. No one should take this team lightly, but for now, we will not see them at the international stage. Looking at this match on the VLR page, we can see that Evil Geniuses did take the first one, Ascent 13-7, which definitely was surprising because Loud have looked perfect on Ascent during this tournament with their weird, wacky comp they have. But the likes of Superman and Jogmo looking great in that map, where Derek and Apoth also performing quite well in nature. -4, but he's the IGL, so you don't really expect him to be getting a lot of kills. Whereas with Loud, you can tell that they struggled across the board, all of them going negative. And EG just putting together solid win streaks of rounds versus Loud, where they couldn't really find a lot on either side of the map. But then Icebox happened, and it's literally the complete opposite. Loud took that one 13-7. They put together some solid streaks of rounds here, and overall just looked like they were the Loud that everybody thinks they are. 2 is going +9, Less going +8, Kawazine looking great with the +10, and Quick and Sadek having overall solid performances. On the EG side, Apoth was the only one that went positive there, and I think the Jogmo on Deadlock, it worked at times on this map, but overall I don't know if we're going to see EG run this too often. I know it caught G2 off guard, but I still don't think Deadlock is a very good agent overall. So, we'll see if Jogmo still runs that character on Icebox, but I would expect that to change at some point. And then Sunset EG, they looked great on this map against G2, but they could not do the same to Loud. Loud took that one 13-5. Just looking great overall, with Less being +12, Sadek being +11, definitely bouncing back from having, not too many kills in the second map. Kawazine and Quick also having solid performances, whereas on the EG side, Derek being the only one that went positive. So they definitely struggled to really get a lot of footing there. I'm surprised by the 6-16 from Jogmo there, but hey, it's Loud. EG definitely played respectable. They did give Loud a run for its money, but overall, this kind of dominant performance from Loud isn't something that I found too unexpected. I was really worried about this match going in because I thought EG might be able to pull off another insane upset, because I do think that they are the just destroyer of dreams. But overall, when you're against a team of Loud's caliber, and especially when they've been together for much, much longer than you have, when you're only together for a month, you still look good in the small sample size, but still, it is a world champion caliber team in Loud there, so it's not too surprising that they lost. I do think EG will bounce back from this though. Now talking about the match between Sentinels and Energy, and man, I'm an Energy fan. I do like this Sentinels roster, but I am more of a fan of Energy, so this match was just heartbreaking to watch. This was a very rough match for Energy fans overall. It felt like Energy could have won at points, but man, Sentinels on Split, that was just an insane performance by them. And it was just a complete wash of that last map. I don't know why teams are just letting Sentinels play on both Sunset and Split in nearly every match. They are clearly among the best in the world at both of those maps, and Energy did have an opportunity to ban Sunset or Split, but they ended up banning Bind and Lotus. I feel like Energy probably is a lot better on Bind than Sentinels is. Sentinels Bind not looking great at this point in time. But overall, this was definitely a match that Energy could have had. They almost won the first map. They brought it all the way to overtime on Sunset. Ended up being a 16-14 scoreline, with Sentinels getting the last 3 rounds of overtime. But then they took it to them on Ascent, winning 13-8, and then Split, man, 13-3 in favor of Sentinels. In my opinion, it wasn't wasn't even like Energy was playing particularly terrible. I don't think they were really horrible. They definitely had some rounds where they had the advantage, where they either had the plant and were in good positions. Sentinels just played insane on that map during that match. It was just crazy. I was just flabbergasted by the amount of times that Energy would get a plant or get on site, and then just Sentinels are just there, and they just kill them all, and the round's over in a blink of an eye. It was just an insane performance by Sentinels overall, and absolute masterclass on Split, and they just look incredibly dangerous on that map. Again, I don't know why Energy let this map pick slip through their fingers. One thing that Sentinels were very good at during this match was shutting down Demon 1. He went 43, 53, and 14 throughout the entire match. So he was a -10 overall, playing both Jet and Omen. I'm concerned about Demon 1 on Smokes. I know people, he was great on Brimstone last year. But I don't know if he's going to continue that strong play as Smokes. Not that he was terrible on Omen or anytime he played Smokes at this tournament, but I just think you really probably want Demon sticking to a duelist role. Victor being the only player that went positive during the entire match on Energy, and then Sentinels just an insane performance by most of their players. Saucy went -4, but he still performed very well when he was playing, and then 10s plus 14, listen. I made that video about players that need to prove themselves. I put 10s as my pick for Sentinels out of players that I felt like out of that roster needed to prove themselves the most. Listen, it's a long season. I'm not going to say he's already done it because he hasn't. He has to continue to play well at the international stage and then during the regular season. So we'll see how he goes. But it does look like Tens is back. It really looks like Tens is back to the form that he had in 2021 and potentially might end up being better. I know that he has one of the best performances of all time on a Valorant tournament in Iceland Reykjavik. I don't put as much stock into that tournament as other people because I feel like it was the very first LAN tournament. People didn't really know the meta totally yet. Things hadn't evolved to a point where they are now. If Tens is able to be dominant in this environment of Valorant esports, where we have seen the highest skill that we've ever seen so far, where we've seen the most insane comps, and just like there's so much depth to the game now versus how much depth there was back then, which wasn't a lot. If Tens can continue to look this good, I think he's going to be better than how he was in 2021, even if he doesn't have the same similar performance as he did at Iceland Reykjavik in 2021. He just looks that good. He looks absolutely insane right now. I'm so excited to see how he does at the international stage. Overall, it was a great match to watch overall. Energy, it's not like they lost by a landslide aside from that split map, unfortunately. That was very frustrating to watch, but I wouldn't worry too much as an Energy fan. I don't think fans of this team need to worry too much. I think, they still haven't been together for that long. We haven't seen a huge sample of them yet, but they still managed to take a map off of Sentinels. They were able to 2-0 both Cloud9 and Furia, two teams that I don't think are very good, but they still have an extremely solid roster. I just think they need a bit more time in the oven, and hopefully they come back strong during the regular season, which I'm fully confident that they will, especially after having the chip on the shoulder after this loss. Moving on to the match that happened today, Sentinels versus Loud. So both these teams qualified for Madrid, which does start on March 14th. So this match was just to decide who gets the championship points, which is 3, which will come in later in the VCT season. So whichever teams get those points are going to have a huge advantage in that regular season. So while the stakes weren't as high as, qualifying for a tournament, the stakes were definitely high for this match. And that was proven right away because this match was an absolute barn burner. It was so back and forth, Sentinel taking the first 2 maps, Loud taking the next 2 maps, and then the 5th map just being an insane performance by Sentinels to close it out. I was concerned about the map pool going into this match because Loud banned Breeze, Sen banned Sen, which wasn't surprising, but then Loud picked Sunset. I was very confused by this pick. Why would they pick a map that Sentinels look extremely good on? But then I started to kind of see more of the vision here. Sentinels picked Split, no surprises there. Loud then picked Icebox, and then Sentinels picked Bind, and then Lotus was the last remaining map, so that was the one to cap it off. So looking at those maps, the way that this match went is actually not very surprising at all, because Sentinels definitely have an advantage on both Sunset and Split, so you get those 2 maps out of the way first, so you don't have the main deciding map as Loud being one of the maps that Sentinels is very good on. And if you're Loud, you probably have an advantage over Sentinels on Icebox and probably on Bind as well. And then Lotus maybe being a bit more of a toss-up in that department, but it ended up just being a landslide victory from Sentinels. I guess they just love closing out matches with just insane performances. Sunset went in favor of Sentinels 13-9. Not really a huge surprise there. Split, masterclass from Sentinels, winning that one 13-3. I was really hoping that this one wouldn't just be a complete wash of a match. But then Icebox, Loud did deliver, making it 13-11. Bind was 13-8 in favor of Loud. And then Lotus, 13-4 from Sentinels. I don't know what it is about this team, but they just love to look like they're about to choke it by losing 2 maps in a row and then just winning in a landslide victory. I don't understand what this team is. Their pushback this year is insane. It's so much different from previous iterations of Sentinels, where it looked like anytime, you know, things got going bad, it looked like they were just out of the match. Not this year's Sentinels. I don't know what it is about it, but they just have no quit. And neither does Loud 2, which made for a very, very entertaining match. Tui's was the only Loud player that ended up going positive, but I still think overall Loud as a unit played very well. Sadak being -28, that is unfortunate for him. But Sentinels, man, 3 players being +14, that's crazy. Tens with 84 kills, second with 83, John Cutie with 72, who says IGLs can't frag? Saucy with 65, and Zelsis with 65. Like, this team is insane. This team is crazy. Look at these numbers. Like, it's not just the fact that they won this match, it's how they won. Almost going down, almost getting reverse swept, and then just storming back to win that last map. Just an absolutely crazy performance from Sentinels overall. And, you know, I'm very proud of them. It's been a long time coming for this roster and for the fan base of this team to get to this point. They were really good in 2021. I felt like they were maybe a bit more overrated in that year, you know, later in the year, because they won Iceland Reykjavik in just such a landslide victory. But then in the tournaments that year after that Iceland Reykjavik tournament, they weren't even close to as good. So I definitely thought that year after that great performance, they were probably a bit overrated, but it looks like they have a chance to maybe be better than that roster. I'm not going to pick them as my favorites for Madrid. I'm going to save that for the video that I do on that tournament. I'll be going through every team and picking my choices for who I think wins that. But Sentinels, they look great. They look great. They look in form. They look like they're on a mission this year. We're not just doing this for clout. We're not just doing this for streams. We're not just doing this for laughs. We are here to win. That is the vibe I get from Sentinels this year. I'm very excited to see what this team ends up doing at Madrid. And Loud too. Not to take away anything from Loud. Loud definitely played a good match today, but Sentinels just with an insane way to close it out. Loud probably hoping to get better at that Lotus map after that just kind of embarrassing last map. Loud is still a great team. They'll be fine. They'll bounce back from this. We'll see how they do at Madrid. They're definitely going to be one of the favorites as well. So that's it. That was the VCT America's Kickoff Tournament. It was a crazy tournament. I've loved covering it and making all these videos for all you fine people. As I mentioned, I will be doing videos on Madrid. I'll be going through every single team in one video and trying to make an argument of each team winning. So look out for that video this week. I'll also be doing updated power rankings for each region. So look out for those as well. And thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you guys thought of the Kickoff Tournament and Sentinels victory in the comment section down below. Please click like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.